I witness the presence of a spirit in the sky. If God is a concept by which we measure our pain, then a wop bop, a loop bop, a lop bam boom is my God. In the immortal words of Joan Jett by way of that knucklehead pedophile Gary Glitter, I love rock and roll. Rock and roll will never forget. Rock and roll will never die. I got the rockin' pneumonia, the boogie woogie flu, and I'm back in black, back in the USSR, back in the chain gang, back to let you know I can really shake 'em down. You want it, don't you? I said you want it, don't you? Bass solo. This is what you paid for. We all have our job, you know. My job is to fuck with you. Your job is to forgive me. Thank you, Christians. Attaboy, you guys. Thank you very much. See ya. To keep myself busy and to maintain my sobriety, on YouTube, I wrote a song a day for a little more than a year. I definitely achieved the 365 songs, one song a day. And I did it for no other reason, with no marketing scheme, with nothing but to keep myself busy. It gave me a goal every day. Blessed are the friends, love, blessed when I sing and love, blessed be that day, blessed be my way. So currently, I'm touring the album The Happiest Man in the World, which came out officially on New West last, I think, March 19th. I think The Happiest Man in the World really spoke to where my soul was at the time. I'm doing demos for yet another album that I think is going to be called Keep Dancing Till the Sobbing Stops. Weird to say this, but it's a spoken word dance record, if there could be such a thing. The art was something I could do. I'd be writing, I'd be recording, and when it would get too crazy in my head, I would go to the painting. It's still creative, but very relaxing. And I didn't want people scrutinizing it. And I had a great manager, Jane Friedman, who had managed Patti Smith and John Cale she had done, and she was very artsy, very cool. And she kept probing me, you know, you gotta put this stuff. In fact, she was the one that said, you gotta do the cover of Choochtown yourself. So that was the beginning of it. When I moved to Austin, Texas with my wife, and this was probably in 1994, I sought out Alejandro Escovedo for what I initially thought was some help with songwriting. And I didn't really know him. I kind of knocked on his door, and we had done a gig together. I had went and bought his first one, Gravity, and it was knocked out by the album. And then, so I think I visited him. He was working at Waterloo Records at the time.
This poster that you see here is advertising Hamell on Trial's first show in Austin. Every Thursday night they'd give me the Waterloo Ice House, which was, you know, a couple storefronts away or a storefront away, and I'd set it up and just invite people to come and play, friends. And at one point, Michael X said, I have this friend, here's his cassette, Letter to Mike, amazing, just unbelievable. It's just him and a cassette player, you know, in his apartment in upstate New York where he was from. And man, you know, and he came out and he did this thing, he did his thing, his Hamell on Trial thing, and it was really intense and it was really beautiful.
Well, hey, Brother Franklin, do you want to go down to the festival? Hey, Brother Franklin, do you want to go down to the festival? Brother Franklin, do you want to go?
From the moment I met him, I felt a real kinship to him, you know, and a friendship, and we developed a strong friendship, you know. Austin was good for Ed, and these were good days for all of us, actually.
Then he might have invited me to his house, or I might have been presumptuous enough to knock on his door, which I think is what happened. But anyway, I went inside. And what struck me about it was just kind of a cool place, an artsy house, but he had original art on the wall. I looked around and I was, wow, original art. So I went back to my wife and I said, we gotta get rid of prints. We gotta have original art in our house. So I said, fuck it. I went to an art supply place and started banging them out and filling my walls with paintings. So for years, people would come to the house and say, oh, you should do a show. But the music, particularly at that time, it's less so now, but the music was always scrutinized, You put the stuff up, you wonder what Robert Christgau was going to be saying about your album. And
he's a troubadour. He's a traveling comedian with a guitar. He's and he's sui generis, too. There's nobody really like him.
My joke is I spin a lot of plates to not make ends meet. The reality is I actually make a pretty good living. And I've learned how to make a living as an artist solely, so.
He said that his real form is the DVD, and I think there's something to that. He's a live performer who you go to see both because he's extremely funny and also because he's so intense. And that intensity is not something that's communicable on record. I mean, I think his records suggest it. I don't think they fail to say that that's what's there, but you don't get the full force of it unless you go see him live.
I get to go up on stage and say anything I want to say. I'm my own man. I answer to nobody. I'd say that in that song, Artists in America. Every night I get to be, the Richard Pryor, the Bill Hicks, the Lenny Bruce, the Nick Cave, the Henry Rollins that I want to be.
I walked in on Hamell on trial in, I believe, the year of 1996 at Irving Plaza. And I went down there early, and Ed Hamell's on stage playing, and he was brilliant.
Yourself says, Uncle Morris, give me the feels at night. Bring along the Constitution. Woo! And teach your children how to fight.
He wrecked his guitar. The strings exploded off. And his songs were great, and he was right about everything, and he was funny, and I watched him and went, I think everyone should see this guy. And I talked to him after the show, and he's hilarious, he's funny, he's the whole thing. And we've been kind of distant pals ever since.
I get to say what I want, I get to stir shit up. I get to talk about the cops shooting black kids, and nobody gives me a hard time. I don't have to worry. So creatively, I feel like $1 million when I leave the stage. I can look in the mirror and say, I answer to no man, I kneel to no one.
He has a very hard sense of humor and a very hard sensibility and a real attachment to truth that makes him continually vital. And if you can divorce yourself from the idea of bright lights in big city, which is just usually a load, and really connect with the people who are hearing you, you can have a very long and fruitful life as a very vital artist. I think Ani DiFranco figured it out from the jump in that Righteous Babe Records. She is completely self-owned and operated. There's not one day of the week you tell her what time it is. She tells you. I have nothing but respect for that.
It was mid-90s. I had intersected with this instrumental band called Drums and Tuba. And we went down to Manitoba's in the East Village and, just a little corner bar. And there was Hamell with his frickin' speaker stack as tall as him, fucking bearing down on one side, and the construction at his feet, with the grill, making him look super freaky, and just, I was blown away, obviously.
Was alive. Shut your fucking mouth. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive.
I remember being very struck right away, like, whoa, here's a different way of doing my job.
I love what I do. I love what I do. I mean, if they say you get a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
When we think of great, we think of famous, we think of big selling, but that's not really where I put my great, I mean, Hamill has inspired me more than, I mean, I can count on one hand, the number of people that inspire me that way. So to me, he's fucking great.
Life is short. I mean, it is. It sounds, what a cliche it sounds, but it is, And I think, God, like, I got this body of work that I'm really proud of, that I've never, ever compromised. I've been lucky. The very first label I was on, Blue Wave, let me do anything I want. Then it was Doolittle, let me do anything I want. Then I got signed to a major. They didn't give a shit about me. They let me do anything I want. And so I've just taken for granted, really, that I can do and say anything I want. But the thing is, I mean, I don't know, you're gonna have to, by hook or by crook, you're gonna have to find a way to make a living, paint some paintings, work a part-time job, do the gigs, whatever. But I would say, just so you can look yourself in, don't compromise an inch, a fraction of an inch. Say something, I would think. Don't be bland. And love what you do. And say you're going to do it for the long haul.
Hamill, long may he wave. He's a true American troubadour in the Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie fashion. And people are lucky to spend an evening with him.
How the fuck I ever stumbled into this? I feel like I just received an angel's kiss. Blessed are the weak, yeah. Blessed those that seek. Blessed be today. Blessed be my way. How the fuck I ever rose up from the ash? Brushed myself off, swore I never would be trash. Blessed those that stumble, blessed those humble. Blessed be today. Blessed be my way. And I feel hope, hope, hope on the horizon. I feel hope, hope, hope on the horizon. I feel peace, love, redemption on the horizon. I feel like I'm shooting squarely from the hip. How the fuck I conquered Satan's grip. Blessed are the humble, blessed those that stumble. Blessed be today, blessed be my way. Hope, hope, hope on the horizon. I feel peace, love, of redemption on the horizon. I feel hope, peace, love, feel salvation on the horizon. I got abandoned where the highway ends. No cell phone service, no link to friends. I can't walk no more, my heavy load. You pull your car over side of the road, and as we ride along, you don't say a word. Over 1,000,000 miles, and this is what I heard. And all these friends I have, I don't know. And the skies of diamonds, oceans of gold. All these friends I have, I don't know. And the skies of diamonds, oceans of gold.